What's going on, guys? Just a little sports recap of what's happened recently in sports. We got myself, Zach Watts, and today's guest, Caleb Carnes. The first thing we're just gonna dive right on into it. The first thing we're gonna talk about is some Nick Saban versus Jimbo Fisher beef that happened recently. Um, Jimbo started calling out who started it originally? It was Saban that started it originally, right?
Um, yeah, they had a meeting. So some of the background was they released the rankings for, I guess, the recruitment, and Texas A&M finished in first, obviously. So when they were interviewing Nick Saban about it, they asked him, and he pretty much came out and said, "Oh, well, Texas A&M came out and bought all their new players through NIL deals." And obviously, Jimbo didn't like that at all. So Jimbo came out and said, "It's a shame that we have to do this. It's really despicable. Despicable that somebody can say these things about somebody, and more importantly, 17-year-old kids. You're taking shot at kids and their families. They haven't broken any state laws. They haven't done anything. We never bought anyone. No rules were broken, and nothing was done wrong." So that's kind of like how it started. Then obviously, Saban didn't like that. He said we were second last year, and now A&M's first this year. They bought every player. They made a deal for their name, image, and likeness. We didn't do that. We didn't do anything, apparently, quote unquote. It's always like he said, she said battle. But yeah, I mean, if you're gonna say you never bought anyone ever, I already don't believe you. I feel like stipends and buying players have kind of always been a part of college football, whether it be under the table or now over the table. It really makes no big difference to me. People are just going to go to the biggest names where they make the most money anyway. So if they want to have a little kid fight, I know they have a relationship prior, but I don't know. I feel like it's kind of childish. Just settle it on the field, see who's better.
Yeah, my thing on it is Saban came at him first, and I don't really like when Saban goes after people because he's kind of supposed to set a precedent. Like, I'm better than everyone. I don't care about everyone. But for some reason, this really bothered him. And I think the reason it bothered him is, one, he's losing a recruitment battle. And when he's Alabama, he's used to just giving a kid a scholarship and they take it because it's Alabama. Like, they don't have to do a lot of recruiting. You hear stories all the time of his recruiting meetings being like 10 seconds long because he's just Nick Saban. So I think losing that is hurting him, and I think it's also frustrating that it's to an assistant coach that he used to have, and everyone knows his history against his assistant coaches are very. It's like what, 20 wins to 2 losses or something like that. And both those losses came this season.
Yeah, and against Jimbo specifically, Jimbo was 0-1 at Florida State, and now he's only 1-3 at Texas A&M. So he's 1-4 overall, and he still doesn't have a winning record.
We're gonna say Caleb.
I think that the reason it pisses him off too is because they lost to them this year too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So
for sure.
that definitely. But I stand with Nick Saban, bro. Like, he can say whatever he wants, bro. He beats everybody. So, and Jimbo's had talent in the past. Like, that he always Texas A&M's been loaded pretty much like the whole time he's been there. Like, they have all the facilities, all the money, and like he still hasn't done anything crazy over there. And like, Nick Saban speaks for himself. Like, that's his recruiting thing is 10 seconds long. He just probably shows up his hand. He's got 5 rings. Like, you want to come win? You want to go to the league? He has his like resume where he sends so many people to the league, and everyone that goes to Bama that's in the league is like, they're freaking studs. Like, they're all pros. They freaking go to the Pro Bowl. Like, so like his resume speaks for itself. So he can really say whatever he wants to me. But it still was a little like, yeah, like he's salty for sure. He's salty.
Yeah. So I think another thing that they noted in the Athletic article, even though they didn't name the coach, so an unnamed SEC coach said that everyone just kisses Saban's ass, but now they kind of like sense like tide shifting, like no one's really like kissing his ass anymore. Even though I don't know, like I get why they'd say that, like kissing his ass, because I mean, if your legacy and your resume is that deep, you kind of have the right to say whatever the fuck you want. Like no one can really check you. And I feel like just because like this recruitment has given other teams like this hype of they have better recruiting classes, like you still haven't proven anything on the field. Like you can recruit as much as you want. I don't know if you'll still be able to outcoach him. Like that man is a master.
Bro, and the thing is too is about their recruits. It's not like Texas A&M blew Alabama out of the water. They got one kid that decided their classes, and a lot of those kids are just a matter of opinion. Like they're higher ranked on other things. It's like it's not like they blew them out of the water. And also, I think another reason that's frustrating Saban is because it's harder for him to adapt to these new ways. This is the NIL deal and this stuff. That's a younger coach's game. It's not an
Yeah.
old coach's style. And I think that's something that's frustrating Saban. But like both you guys said, I still think Alabama is going to mob Texas A&M.
I hope they do. I don't like Jimbo,
I hope they
bro. I
slaughter
don't
them.
like Jimbo.
They're a minus 1,000 favorite right now. 1,000.
Bro, when I was at Bama, I went there my freshman year, and you walk past the dorms at the football player stat, bro. They're all driving like Dodge Chargers,
Yeah.
like Challengers, like Hellcats. You're like, oh, like everyone's, and especially the SEC, everyone is paying something. They're getting something, especially at Bama. You know, those boys are getting treated right. So like that's another reason why he's pissed, because like now everyone can kind of like there's like some there's some wiggle room to like get certain perks that he had before, where he was like, oh, like the boosters were blessing him, and now it's like out of his hands now, where like everyone can kind of do their own thing.
No, I agree. And I think the thing is with Jimbo is like, obviously me and Zach, diehard Florida State fans. He won that national title and like everyone started gassing up his resume. But if you go and you like actually looked at it, the kids he won the national title with was Bowden's last recruiting class. It was Bowden's players. And also, bro, like you could have given almost any coach in the country that team, they were going to do the same thing.
Yeah, they were so
so much better than they were the best team. Like
was 2014 Jalen Ramsey on that team too?
Jalen Ramsey's freshman year, yeah.
Okay,
Jalen
yeah,
Ramsey,
like Jameis,
Jalen Ramsey, Xavier Rhodes, Ronald Darby, Jameis, Cook wasn't there yet, but the backfield was like Wilder Jr. with Devontae Freeman. Like the team was loaded. Every single starter went to the NFL. Yeah, Kelvin Benjamin, Rashad.
He was so nice.
They had Connor Shaw. Like the entire.
Yeah, they were unreal.
Yeah, was filthy. But the thing is, I don't think he's that good of a head coach.
I don't like him either. So yeah, I'm just gonna say he sucks.
I still don't think he's gonna beat Bama, and I think. Dude, there's a trend, and everyone knows it. We all know it with college football that there's teams that for some reason, no matter what, they're gassed up. And Texas A&M is them, and they're gonna finish the same 8-5 season. They're gonna do. They're gonna finish 8-5 or 9-4. It's just, and then they're gonna get another good recruiting class, and it's gonna be like, oh no, but this year, but they're not. I just don't see them doing anything ever. I don't think Jimbo will ever win the SEC ever. He'll never win it.
Those those are good years, but like when you have that good of recruiting classes, like you got to go like 11-1, like whatever the case may be. Like you got to at least get 10 wins or more, and go to at least. You don't even have to make the college football playoff. Like those big bowl games, like you had a good ass year if you made it to one of those. Like you know what I'm talking about. And you win that, like you're like okay, like you had a really good year. So like it's not always natty or bust, but like you got to start like leveling up to get to those bowl games, and then like all right, college football playoff. Like you got to like, and they're just not going to do it.
Oh yeah, and their big bowl game this year, they played a super overrated UNC team. So I still have improved.
Yeah, that team was not it. They were way overhyped too.
So keeping it on college football though, huge signing that happened. Jordan Addison's going to the University of Southern California. He's a 2-year starter at Pitt. He was the main weapon for Kenny Pickett this season. His stats speak for themselves. 2,259 receiving yards. 21 touchdowns with over 100 rushing yards, and he was a 2021 Bilikinoff winner, which is the best receiver in the country. And I was telling Zach, dude, listen to this. So Lincoln Riley signed officially signed dotted paper November 28th to be the head coach for USC, right? Since then, this is what they've gotten. 3-star offensive tackle from Virginia. They got 3-star defensive lineman from TCU. They got a 2-star defensive lineman from San Jose State, 3-star wide receiver from Washington, 4-star wide receiver from Colorado, 5-star quarterback in Caleb Williams from Oklahoma, Mario Williams, 4-star wide receiver from Oklahoma. They got a 3-star defensive lineman from Kansas State, 3-star cornerback from Colorado, 4-star corner from Oklahoma, 3-star receiver from Stanford, 3-star linebacker from Alabama, 3-star linebacker from Auburn, 4-star running back from Oregon.
Damn.
3-star safety from Ohio State, 4-star linebacker from Arizona State, 3-star linebacker from Utah, 3-star tackle from Washington, Jordan Addison. And then they just got a 2-star defensive lineman from Wyoming.
That's like crazy.
Fucking stacked.
That's crazy because like you already know, like now that they're in college, I don't know how old any of those guys are, but like once you're a certain amount of years removed from college, like the stars really doesn't matter. So like now they're like grown men and they've already played college football. So like that's like a huge up for them. You know what I'm saying? Like they're not like 18-year-olds coming in, like they're grown ass men. They've already been in the trenches and they've played. So like those are like that's a lot of gets right there.
Dude, and that doesn't even talk about the recruits he signed.
Yeah, the recruits,
That's
like that's
straight transfer portal.
straight transfer portal. They're
Mhm.
they're stacked, bro, but I feel like that they're kind of in the same as like Texas A&M or like Texas, because like they always are or like Miami, bro. Like they're always like, oh, are they back? Like, is this the good old days? We'll see. They could be, but like I don't know.
I mean,
That's how they're always hyped.
I don't know. I feel like I'm always going to be a hater now, especially of Lincoln Riley, like how he did his whole situation. Like, oh, I have a fucking keen like, dude, it's one thing to say one thing, but then to blindly go around and do the exact opposite. Like, I don't know how any of those players have any faith in him. Like, they are literally just star chasing. Like, I mean, I'll admit it's probably the best for their situation. Like, you're going under a proven head coach. You're just trying to set yourself up for the future. But that is not the environment I want to be in, especially now, because anyone that has played for Lincoln Riley that doesn't play for him now definitely has a target on his back. Like, they want to go out there and whoop his ass. So USC has an infinitely harder schedule than they thought they did right out of the gates. I haven't looked at their schedule for this upcoming season.
Pretty cake. It's pretty cake.
It's pretty cake.
It's pretty cake. I'm gonna pull it up just to be
The
exact.
Pac-12's weak though.
Yeah, it's only them in Oregon. It's them in Oregon.
Yeah.
But the thing about the Pac-12 that always surprises me is every fucking year there's some Pac-12 game where it's like, oh, in a 59 to 53 fucking double overtime.
Bro, they don't even play Oregon. Their schedule is
what the fuck?
They host Rice, and then they play at Stanford. They host Fresno State, which is honestly their hardest game. Then they're at Oregon State. They host Arizona State, host Washington State, play at Utah. That's their hardest game.
That's tough.
Then they're at Arizona, host Cal, host Colorado, at UCLA, and finish the season hosting Notre Dame.
Notre Dame sucks too. Those are cakewalks.
That is one of the easiest Power 5 schedules right there.
If they don't win 10 games, like they're sorry as hell.
Bro, and then we talked about it.
Happen?
We talked about it on the last pod with Jalen. Dude, and I'm a firm believer by this, and I will die by this every day. When it comes to sports, it's too hard to have success in a big city. There's too many distractions. You're getting all these young kids that come from not good backgrounds, or they come extremely poor. Then you give them, you throw them in LA, and you throw all this money in their face and all these hot girls and all these celebrities. There's a reason why there's always trends of UCLA when they were with Jim Mora having back-to-back top 5 classes and then losing half those recruits before they graduate. They can't fucking stay there. They get too much, and there's no support. And I understand the belief is like, look, Lincoln Riley's going to come in. He's going to change everything. They're going to start winning, and the culture is going to come. You can't. That's not how that works. You use the culture to build your program. Okay. Yeah, they're going to be really fucking talented, but I still don't think that they're going to get the support from a college town.
Yeah. The college town is nice. Like I was thinking about like,
sorry,
I'm a Michigan fan. So like, I was just thinking about like Ann Arbor, like that's a good college town and like a good city. So like, and you can't really like, what are you really going to do out there? Like compared to like LA, like, yeah, you're going to go fucking nuts in LA.
Exactly.
You can't go nuts in like a lot of these.
You're not going to get the support, and you see it with USC, you see it with Miami, you see it with Las Vegas. Like it's just, you can't, and I don't think he's going to be able to. And there's actually a picture of their spring game and Oklahoma's spring game, and they only sold like 30,000 tickets for $100,000, 30,000 people tickets for 100,000 person stadium, and Oklahoma's was sold out. You know, like it's stuff like that, and it's just, I think Lincoln Riley's a damn good coach. I mean, look what he did at Oklahoma. And I think that he has an unbelievably talented team. I don't think they ever win anything big. I don't. Yeah, I think it's all looks. It's like an NCAA team. It's like the video game team. Like they look great, but they can't win a dogfight. They just can't.
Yeah.
I don't see. That's kind of surprising with like the big area names always having issues keeping recruits because they have all the distractions. But then I look at Florida State, like, yeah, Florida State's in the middle of like nowhere, Tallahassee, but like they literally party every fucking day. Like, how do you survive at Florida State?
But it's not.
That place is different.
It's the surrounding. It's the surrounding of everything else, though. It's like the partying you can structure. If it's just bars and hop, you can structure that. But it's when you're playing for USC and you're going to Dunkin' Donuts and there's 3 movie stars just in line with you. You know, or like all these models are blowing you up. Like that's not happening in Tallahassee. Like, no A-list celebrities living in Tallahassee.
and like those like high class like strip clubs. Like who knows what they're all doing? Like
Yeah, exactly. Like, yeah, there's
nuts.
kids that definitely fall in the loophole partying at Florida State, but it's still not Los Angeles. Like, it's still
It's a
not.
different environment too. Like and like those college towns, like if you're on the football team and stuff, you get like certain like privilege. You know what I'm saying? Like you can like like they kind of look out for you or something like a little bit. But like yeah, in LA, like no one gives a fuck. Like you're just
Yeah,
another.
well, there's that safety, and there's like always
Yeah, exactly.
That's like the
Exactly.
reason Nick Saban's so successful at Alabama is because he could kill a guy and the police wouldn't rat on him. Like, there's just like, and that's what it is in Tally. Like those, like people will be like, "Yo, like Jameis, get out of here, go back, go to sleep, bro. You got practice tomorrow." Like in LA, they don't give a shit. There's no culture.
Yeah.
Yeah. How about just like a collective like fuck you to the state of California? Because I just like
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
Get that off my chest, and then yeah, Lincoln Riley. I hope you never win a fucking national championship. USC, you never deserve shit, especially after taking Reggie Bush's Heisman shit.
Mhm.
Which, by the way, how that has been reinstated, complete bullshit to me.
No, he tried. He tried. They told him no.
No, I know.
It's
I know.
dumb, so.
Like, did he not do everything for your school? Oh, now that NIL is legal, you still can't bring that back? Like, yeah, okay. It's completely okay to say, like, yeah, that was wrong, but you can still acknowledge something being wrong and then reinstate it. Like,
yeah, I know.
Like he was
make
still
it right. They could make it right.
Yeah, like he's still an unbelievable football player at the end of the day. Like if he were to play it anywhere in the fucking country during his time, he would have been the most dominant running back we've ever seen. Like that man was college football for his time. He made NCAA what it was. But it's annoying.
Bro, you could use the same, you could talk about the same scenario with the baseball player with freaking Barry Bonds. It's the same thing. It's the exact same thing. It's the same thing. They could have been like, yeah, he fucked up, but like, look, all these other guys fucked up. We let them in. We'll let them in.
Yeah, that is bullshit too. I forgot about that.
Bro, and what's crazy about the Barry Bonds situation, I know this is like completely off what we were talking about, but it wasn't like the man was hitting no nukes and then started hitting nukes. No, he was already hitting nukes and now he just hit them a little further.
He was an all-star and gold glover before being on roids. He was still like a perennial fucking player for his time. And then literally everyone else was taking roids and being fucking amazing. So why would you not be like, hey, I'm going to do the same shit and be fucking just as good. Like I'm going to even the playing field. And the thing is back then, what fucking kills me is everyone knew everyone was on roids. It wasn't
MLB like, kind of like nudged it. They were kind of like,
I mean, dude, do it.
Yeah.
You want to compare it?
But dead ass though, they were because they were getting no views. The sport of baseball was dying. So they're like, we got to do something. So they were like,
it's still dying.
No, let's start hitting nukes. Like, it'd be kind of cool if we just got nukes on TV all day. And then they did. They didn't say nothing about it. And they were like, oh, look, now everyone's watching baseball. And then you say like, oh, look how bad steroids is. This man doesn't get caught. And instead it owns up like a fucking man. And he's like, I took steroids. I'm sorry. And said he did it instead of getting caught. And now you're like, fuck you. But you're going to let all these other guys that get caught and like lied about it. And you're going to let them in.
Yeah. And then, what was I going to say? It was like with the whole like Barry Bonds situation, like taking roids, like you want to compare it to another sport, look at the UFC. When the UFC first started, like it was to no surprise that every fucking fighter was roided out of their mind fighting. But did any of the fans complain? Fuck no. We just wanted to see people murder each other. The sport was
fans
like,
want roids. They want people to kill each other.
Dude, we watch sports to see the pinnacle of athleticism. We want to see the best athletes. Like, okay, I get if you're a purist, you'd be like, oh, well, I want everyone to be equal. Like, if like everyone shouldn't risk their lives going on roids because like we don't know how safe it is. Like, yeah, I get it. You want to even the playing field, whatever. But when if everyone's fucking doing it, you can't punish just like a certain few.
You can't pick and choose
who gets in trouble and who you want to like represent your sport. Like it doesn't make sense. And like, if you're gonna make changes with the times, like it's okay to acknowledge like mistakes you've made in the past, but don't punish them for the mistakes that you're just now acknowledging as mistakes. Like when he did it, it wasn't as much of a mistake as it would have been as if he were to do it now, if that makes sense.
No, 100%.
And like you look at the Pete Rose situation, like Pete Rose, like I know this isn't on steroids, but this is just money. Dude, he bet on himself to win games. He didn't take any drugs. He didn't. Well,
same with Calvin Ridley too. Like he just got fucked.
Yeah, like, man didn't take any roids, literally just bet on himself. And they were like, oh, you are the biggest sin to baseball like we've ever. Dude, we have pitchers in the MLB who pimp slap their girlfriends with pistols and shoot shots at them. And they get paid millions of dollars to continue to do that. They still do that.
I think Calvin Ridley, like his suspension, like compared to like, I feel like Ray Rice, like one of those dudes that just beat the shit out of somebody.
I'm pretty sure Ray Rice, I'm going to look it up. I'm pretty sure it was less than half a season expansion. And there is literally a video of him knocking the fuck out of a woman.
Beating the shit out of her, yeah. And Calvin Ridley got a whole year for placing a parlay on the fucking
$1,000.
Like what the fuck?
$1,000. I know kids in college who make literally less than 1% of what Calvin makes, and they drop more on parlays than fucking Calvin.
Yeah.
Like, oh, that's such a joke.
It's just dumb, bro. Like you should be. It's just like how is it allowed for some? Now listen. If Ridley was betting like on against himself or against his team, I'm completely against that.
Me too. I'm fine with that. Then
but how come someone else can say Grayson Fisher is going to win first round knockout, throw a fucking million on me, and then I get it, and then they can win money off of my win, but I can't.
That's whack. If you're throwing money on yourself to win and shit, I think that's cool. But like, obviously, if he's playing and like say he was playing and bets on the other team, like, okay, bro, like that's fucked. Like something's got to happen. But if you're putting money on your team to win, like, why the fuck can't you do that?
Yeah, I agree. I agree. But going back to the Barry Bonds thing, real quick, the reason why, look, I am completely against steroids, and I'm not saying what he did was right. I'm all natural in what I do. Like I think everyone, I'm one of those purists. Like I think it should be like that, but we can't acknowledge that everyone was doing it. And also when it comes to the sport of baseball, it's all eye, hand, watching, catching, reading a pitch, knowing the pitch, regardless if he's on steroids or not. It's not going to make him read a pitch better and get contact better.
Yeah.
That doesn't make, like, it's not like football where like you can now start like driving D linemen.
Yeah. Like running fast as shit.
Exactly.
And like hitting the fuck out of
that
people.
is very impactful. Now listen, is he hitting balls that maybe wouldn't have been home runs into home runs? Maybe a few, but he was still hitting home runs, and it doesn't change. You're not going to you can give me all the steroids in the world. You could juice me up right now with tests, with everything. I'm not going to be able to read a 99 mile. Like I'm still not going to hit a 99 mile per hour fastball. It's just not going to change.
Or like be able to fucking throw someone out from right field to home.
Exactly. It's not going to change. Like it's not going to change.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like it's especially hard when your sport isn't like that physical. Like they say baseball is like 90% mental. So like when you bring a physically altering drug into it, it's kind of hard to see. Now, if you look at Chris Davis's situation where he had like an MVP season, signed a record-breaking deal the year after, and then come to find out, they look into him a little more and they're like, oh yeah, you're prescribed Adderall, but you're taking more than you're allowed. They take away his Adderall and he becomes statistically the worst hitter to ever step foot in a batter's box.
In my personal opinion, Adderall affects you more than steroids in baseball.
Really?
No,
in baseball.
Dude, I played one game on Adderall and I didn't even like mean to do it. I took a test in school and it lasted throughout the test. I didn't play the game, it was a practice. We went to a practice after. When I hit on that Adderall, I have never seen the baseball so clearly in my entire life. It feels like the world around you is just moving a little bit slower. Like it just feels like everything is a little more like calmed down. Like things aren't like getting on you as quick. It slows the pace of play. And I feel like for baseball, that's the biggest thing between like skill gaps. Like when we interview all these football players, we always ask them like, oh, what's the difference between like high school, college, and pros? And they always say it's the speed of the game. Like everything just speeds up. Like everyone's stronger, faster. Things are going to catch up on you. And then I feel like, especially for baseball, you take an Adderall where you allow your mental to really like hyper focus. You're allowed to really concentrate on certain things. You are fucking locked in. And if you're locked in, you are one of the most dangerous players on the field, especially on an enhancing drug like Adderall. Like I understand some people need it. There's prescriptions. There's a reason
we're talking about using it specifically as a PED. Like if you're not prescribed, that's exactly like if you need it and you take it, that just makes you normal. That doesn't, but if you're like I'm not someone that needs it. If I took it, like the way I look at it, I've never played the sport of baseball, but the way I'm looking at it as a fan and as someone that follows the sport of baseball, I feel like when I'm hitting, it's going to keep me more. I'm not going to hear the fans as much because I'm going to be so dialed into the pitcher. Two, I feel like I'm going to be understanding and trying to like learn the pitch count and like figure out what he's throwing at me better, as well as seeing the ball clear. And I feel like also it might impact you more in the field of play also, because like what you're in the outfield, Zach, and you're playing, there's hundreds of pitches being thrown. Like there's going to be a pitch or two where you're just like kind of zoned out. Versus if I'm on Adderall, I'm focused every single pitch. Like I'm ready for every single pitch. And I feel like that's just versus steroids. It's like, yeah, I'm gonna hit the ball a little harder, but I'm not going to be as dialed in. And like you said, it's so much more mental. I feel like the focusedness of Adderall is what changes it.
Yeah. And that's another thing with baseball that I think might go by the casual fan is like when you're playing on a pitch to pitch basis, especially when you're super locked in, like you're not just thinking of like, oh, how am I supposed to like play this ball if it's like hit right at me? Like you have to think about like, oh, this is in the gap. Like who am I supposed to back up? Like who am I supposed to throw on the cutoff? Is there a guy on first, second? Is he the type of runner that like if there's a softer hit ball to the outfield, is he going to try to make the play at home, or is he going to try to lighten up at third? Is the hitter going to try to stretch it into two? Like these are all things that you are constantly trying to like think about in order to make the right play. And on Adderall, I feel like you were able to go through all these like hypothetical events way more quickly, and you're able to diagnose like what you need to do like a lot faster. When I was on Adderall, I feel like the only thing that really like changed for me was my decision making. Like my initial thought, I felt like it was the right decision, and your confidence is there. If you feel like you're making the right decision, your confidence is going to be there, and you're going to do it at 100% that you can. And if you're confident in your ability, then you're probably going to be able to achieve it like more times than not. And I feel like since baseball is a huge mental game, if you have that confidence and you've put in the work, good things are going to happen. So especially for taking Adderall in a PED like manner, like we're mentioning, I feel like that's definitely a bigger problem than just steroids itself. That by far.
I completely agree. Agree. But let's move
back,
on.
Back to college football. We've got some opening games slated. I will say, just from looking at the list, that immediately jumped out at me, and it kind of angers me. The fact that Notre Dame is constantly mentioned as a top program every fucking year.
They suck.
And the only reason we do it is because they were good back in like what? They made a fucking movie. They made Rudy. Congratulations. If you want fucking Notre Dame to be good again, go watch Rudy. I'm sorry. Every fucking year we do the same shit. They come out, they go through an easy ass schedule. They wax it, have like one or two close games. Like, oh yeah, we can put them in the playoff. And then Alabama beats them as a 4 seed, like 45 to 10. Yeah.
I don't like Notre Dame either, man. And Ohio State's going to win this game by far. And I fucking hate Ohio State.
Yeah. Oh,
do you think Ryan Day's actually a good coach, or like, do you think that he's still benefiting from Urban?
Here's what I love about
Zach likes Ohio State, by the way. So
yeah,
I'm a huge Florida State fan, but I respect I respect dynasties and legacies. Like I can't for some reason, like I'm really drawn to them. Like if you're able to solidify a longstanding program that's able to win year in and year out, that I think is the hardest thing to do in any sport. What Ohio State does extremely well is, I feel like when it was Urban, when it's Ryan Day, Coach Pryor, they have a system that works, and no matter what coach it is, they stick by it. The culture, I feel like the culture at Ohio State now has superseded the coaching. If you already have a system implemented that's successful and it works, why not adapt that? Why not just continue what you saw? Ryan Day was there before he was a head coach as a assistant. He saw what the program was and what they needed to do. He knew the offensive work. He knew the playbook on both sides of the ball. He knows what they did like really well. He knows the recruits they brought in and what they do exceptionally well at as I guess for like the roles they need to fill out. So for him, I feel like all he needs to do is just to keep doing what they've been doing in years past. You saw the blueprint. You saw what they needed to do. Yeah, you've lost some star players here and there, but your recruiting class fills out for that. They
always go nuts in recruiting too. They always are bringing in dogs. I think it really helped them though that they let him stay, because like keeping it in house, like you said, like he already knows the playbook, he knows the culture. Like that definitely helped them out.
Have you talked to the Shianos about him?
No, not really. I don't think that. I don't know how, like, was Ryan Day more offense? He was just assistant coach, because wasn't Shiano was
DC.
Yeah,
Shiano.
I think Day was more offensive, but
Shiano was the defense coordinator at Ohio State.
Bro, I thought he was wasn't he? I thought where was he? Like, he was some like head, like, what's it called?
Or like
Like
associate
assist.
head coach.
Yeah, like I thought he was that at Ohio State too. No,
Maybe he was. I know he was defense
he was
coordinator.
hot. Yeah, definitely, dude. They were nice as fuck. I hated when they went there because they were always talking, chirping me
Yeah,
about
I know.
Michigan. I'm like, fuck you, dude.
I know, bro. But I think what Zach said was exactly what it is. Like their culture is over past their
Yeah,
coaching.
they're
As long as they
nice.
keep it in house, they keep the same recruits coming, and they just follow the lead of what's been going on. It's never gonna die out. It's
They just
gonna,
always have these crazy athletes, bro. Like their receiving core last year was nuts. Their quarterback's fucking nuts. Their defense is always
they're always
crazy.
disgusting. They're
And
the
then they like
Alabama
they
of up north,
yeah.
bro. Without
And I
doubt.
hate them. I hate them so much.
I
But like
hate them so
but
much.
even when they play like George, like they never get blown out. Like they play everybody tough. Like Michigan got their ass beat by Georgia. Like Ohio State like plays everybody close whenever they make it to the playoff. Like they play everybody close and they win big games. Like I was surprised
Except
they lost to
LSU in
Oregon.
the Natty.
Yeah, exactly. That team was just unreal though. But like they always are tough as fuck and I hate them. But like that's how it is.
Let's go through these games though. So
Okay.
obviously the big one everyone's talking about is Oregon versus UGA. Georgia coming off a natty. Oregon's head coach, former Georgia Dogs defense coordinator.
Oh, okay.
So it's
Do you
very
like
interesting. I think Georgia's gonna win, obviously.
me too.
I think Oregon is going to keep it a lot closer than it's supposed to be, though, because also on Georgia's team, you have Bo Nix. Now, listen, I am not saying, listen to me, I am not saying Bo Nix is a great quarterback. That's not what I'm saying. But Bo Nix is known to have spurts where he upsets really fucking good teams. He's done it a
Yeah,
lot.
but
He's
Georgia
done it a
knows him
lot.
though.
He's done it a
Georgia
lot,
knows
though,
him.
but he's done it a lot. He did against
It's like a
Alabama.
poor
He
man's
did against
Johnny
Oregon with
Manziel.
Gerber. Yeah, exactly. But he could do it.
He has that factor for
And
sure.
you know that the head coach for Oregon, I don't remember his name. He's gonna have them ready for at least a half. The first half is not gonna be a blowout, no matter what the ending score is gonna be. They are gonna be prepared for everything that comes in the first half.
Where is
I'm
the
gonna
game?
go. I think it's neutral site. I believe it's
Okay,
neutral site.
that's
I think personally, I'm gonna go. Georgia's gonna win by 14. But
okay.
like a late 14, like a 7 going into the fourth quarter.
I would go like a 34-17 Georgia,
See,
but like a close first half for sure.
Yo, yeah, for sure.
yeah, I completely agree with the close first half. The one thing that I'm not too sure about is, especially with Pac-12 defenses, they run a lot of uneven stacks, so you kind of look like a 3-3 or like a 3-3-5, or even running a 3-4. I don't know what system, because you said the Georgia coach is now at Oregon, right? I don't know what system he's going to try to implement. All that I know for certain is anytime a Pac-12 team has tried to adopt a 4-man front, it has failed miserably. Like,
yeah, horrible.
Now, do I think if they decide to run out with a 4-man against Georgia, I think that'll help them a lot more than if they were to roll out there with a 3-4 or a 3-3.
Yo, but see,
Yeah.
the only reason I think it'll be closer too is one, his schemes are going to fit the offense. He knows exactly how the offense works. Obviously the deciding factors, the trenches, because those SEC offensive linemen are going to bully the Pac-12 D linemen. But my thing is something that I feel like both of you forgot, is that Stetson Bennett's the quarterback.
He sucks.
Exactly. And when it comes to speed, regardless of skill, the DBs at Oregon are going to be just as fast as the receiver for Georgia. Like they fly. That's what they're a Pac-12 team. Like regardless of skill, they're fast. So as long as they can keep everything downfield covered and they make it that Georgia has to beat them with the run game and make it one-dimensional, that gives Oregon their biggest hope. Now their D linemen are going to get freaking bullied and they're going to have to rotate their asses out. But that's where I think the game's going to be won is Stetson Bennett. I think Stetson Bennett and Bo Nix are low-key the deciding factors in this game.
Yeah. Honestly, if I were Oregon, you kind of know that Georgia is going to have to stick to the ground game majority of the game. They're going to stick on the ground, and that's fine. They're going to use a lot of clock doing that. If you're on offense, match their pace. If they want it to be a low scoring game going deep into the game, that's fine, because at that point you bring it into the later quarters of the game, you're going to force Bennett to throw some passes.
He's going to have to start the one.
Yeah, like long third downs, keep them.
Yeah, he's gonna have to get in those situations. And to be honest, when it comes to clutch situations, I definitely don't trust Stetson Bennett up to this point. He hasn't proven to me anything. Now, is he a good quarterback. Yes, I saw in high school, but he just hasn't shown it recently. Like, especially.
I still don't think he's good. He's like the worst quarterback to win a natty in the past like fucking 10 years. Like I think he's horrible.
But the kid's
I do not
dope,
like
dude.
him,
The
though.
kid's still a dope kid, though. Like,
I don't think so. I think he's
hammered the
a nerd.
next day at his interview.
I think he's a nerd.
But the only thing is too is like look, I still think Georgia's gonna win. I'm just saying I do think it's not as one sided as people believe. Oregon beat Ohio State at Ohio
That's
State.
what if Oregon, that's because they were running the ball. If Oregon can run the ball, bro, their running back is nice, bro. That dude
No, they
is
just
fast as
lost
hell.
him. They just lost him.
What?
He went to USC. Trey Davis went to USC.
No, I'm talking about Die.
Yeah,
Davis is little.
he's at USC.
What? Fuck. Are you sure? What's his name? I thought it was like Travis Dye or Trevor.
Travis Dye, 4-star, immediately eligible, USC.
Okay. Well, that's
January 14th.
He's nice. He's really good. He's really good. Okay, yeah, then that might be Raps. Georgia, for sure.
Go.
You think Notre Dame, Ohio State will be close?
Yeah, so that's the next one, right?
That's next.
I think Ohio State beats them.
Actually, I will say this: in years past, Ohio State's opening week is always
it's ass
show.
Every year.
It is. It's way too close.
It kills me every year because they schedule like a not great team, but like a good, like just above average. But like going into it, you're like, all right, Ohio State should dominate. And then the same thing happens every year. First half they roll out, they're down 14 going to half. And it's because like they had 2 offensive turnovers off like some dumb shit that they fucked. Like it'd be like an RPO that like they fucked up and fumbled. It's some scheming that they don't have down 100%. They fuck it up. They go down 14 and a half. And then it's some crazy fourth quarter finish that like wraps up the week 1, like college football highlights of the week.
Every single fucking season too, bro.
Every year.
Every single season.
And what's crazy is it's either they lose that opening game and they say like, oh, like the season's over. And then they make a crazy run and it's like, oh, do they deserve to be in the playoff?
Yes.
Or it's they win that game and then they end up losing to like Penn State or Michigan at like the end of the year. And it's like, oh, your playoff hopes are over.
Yep.
Yeah, no, that's pretty.
I'm excited. I'm like, it's weird.
But Notre Dame does the same shit, bro. They should have lost.
They don't even. This year. Notre Dame. I'm like, I don't know how they're gonna be because they just lost their coach. Like, I don't know what their in-house, like what's their vibe like in their like the culture and everything, because like I never buy into Notre Dame. Like they're always pretty sorry, even when they're ranked high, bro. And I'm looking at their quarterback and I'm like, this guy's not gonna win a big game, or like that defense is not gonna stop fucking Georgia, Ohio State, Bama. Like they just not.
They have no
enough.
speed. They have no.
Yeah, like they're like they're really. I feel like they're fundamental, but like they just kind of suck to me. Dude, I don't like them.
They're like, bro. I feel like they're if you combined like a low. This is how I would look at Notre Dame. If you combine
poor man's Wisconsin.
If you what?
A good Wisconsin team, they're a level below them. Like they're fundamental, but like they're not really fast, but they're really good.
Yeah, exactly. So I would say they're like a 5 or 6 Big Ten team combined with like a 2 or 3 ACC team.
Yeah,
I feel like that's what Notre Dame is.
Yes, I 100%.
If that makes sense.
Yes.
So I obviously don't like Notre Dame or Ohio State at all. They're like probably my 2 least favorite teams.
Me too.
But I have a lot of friends that are Notre Dame fans and that go to Notre Dame, and I've talked to them about it. Like, just like doing like this conversation, and they all love Marcus Freeman. That's his name.
I think so.
Yeah,
I feel like he looks like a good fit. Like
they all like him. They all like
him
a lot. They all like him a lot. I just don't. I don't know anything about their team. I don't know who their quarterback is going to be. I don't know anything. So I don't think they're gonna. I think it's gonna be a super sloppy game that's gonna look close, but in reality, Ohio State's gonna be pretty dominant in it. That's what I think.
I think so too.
I like Ohio State like 28-17.
Yeah, I'm looking at their roster. I don't know any of these guys.
Yeah,
none of them. I'm not. They're sorry.
Predictions.
To be nice, I'm gonna say Ohio State by 7, and they're probably gonna like score like a touchdown with 3 minutes left to go ahead.
Off of like a fumble or something.
Yeah, no. Notre Dame is guaranteed. What's guaranteed going to happen is they're going to be like driving down the field and they're going to throw a pick at like the 50, even though they definitely should have ran the ball.
Yeah.
And then Ohio State's going to go immediately to like 3rd and 10, like 2 straight incompletions. And then you're going to have a bullshit like 40-yard pass, like double coverage caught because they have like 6-star receivers every year that come out of fucking like, I don't even know. Like, who do they have last year? They had Garrett Wilson.
They have that
Jigba
the Jimbo this year, yeah.
and
Jimbo,
Olave.
Olave last year they had
Garrett
two.
Wilson.
Every year they have wide receiver talent.
They're
There's
so
no
good.
doubt. I just don't know. Like, I don't even know who their quarterback is going into this year.
CJ Stroud, bro.
Stroud, yeah.
Oh yeah, it is Stroud again. Yeah. Damn, dude, he was fucking insane.
He's really good.
Yeah.
He's really good.
Yeah, but he's gonna suck in the NFL because every Ohio State quarterback does. So
They suck.
they all fucking suck in the NFL.
Okay, my
Dude,
score prediction. Sorry, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I don't know why Ohio State sucks every year they get to the pros, like quarterback specifically. Like I don't know what it is. Like, bro, you literally
every single one too. It's not. There's not an exception.
That one year we won the Natty where we rolled through 3 quarterbacks. We literally went.
That was crazy.
We went from
What's this we talk? What's this we talk?
All right. Sorry.
What's this we talk?
All right.
You're a Florida State fan. Get out of here with that.
Yeah. They had JT Barrett, who went down with an injury. Or no, to start the year, you had fucking Braxton Miller, who was like a top quarterback prospect. You had him switch to receiver just so you could have another quarterback come in.
No, because he hurt his shoulder.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And they were like, he's too good of an athlete. He's too good of an athlete to keep.
Well, he hurt his shoulder, and they were like, look, there's no point in you trying to hurt it again or anything. And like, you're a better wide receiver. So in that way, when you're a coach, you want your 11 best people on the field. Putting him and having JT, even though maybe Braxton was a little bit better at quarterback, that gave him their 11 best though.
Yeah. And then JT got hurt with a knee injury. He went down. I forget who came in after him.
Cardell Jones, baby.
No, there was one more.
There was one more. There was because Cardell only came in the fucking Big Ten championship against Wisconsin and blew them the fuck out, and then played in the championship and fucking won. And I was like, there's no way you have this much high caliber quarterbacks that can't play in the pros.
No, I think it was Braxton, JT, then Cardell.
Yeah, I think that's right. That's what it
was. That's what it was.
Yeah. No, but dude, Braxton was that receiver because the opening game of the year they played
Virginia Tech. Yes, I remember that.
That's when Braxton Miller hit that spin move because that's when I was like, all right, he's not the quarterback.
Are we sure that's the same season?
I'm looking.
I don't think that's the same season. I think that's the year after.
Dude, was it?
No, I think you're right. I think you're right because I remember vividly Michigan was playing Ohio State beautifully, like we're beating them, and then their quarterback was playing like shit. He got hurt, and I'm like, fuck. They put in the backup, and he starts lighting us up. I'm like, what the fuck is going on, bro? I was so mad. It was crazy.
Yeah, at the beginning of the 2014 season, Jones was listed as the 3rd quarterback. So 2014, Ohio State.
No, that's the year they won it. See, that's the year.
Yeah, it was Braxton and all them.
Braxton first, and then he got hurt, and then JT, and then dude, that was insane. See, but how do you have all that? Like, what goes wrong? Like, what are they not teaching them, or what are they doing at the college level that isn't translating to the pros? Because it has to be apparent by now. It's been proven with multiple quarterbacks.
It's proven with every single one.
I feel like it could just be like their offense isn't like, it's like RPO, like it's like very weird. You know what I'm saying? It's very like video game-ish. Yeah, it doesn't correlate to the pros. Like they have big plays. Like you're like, I
also think it's the talent, bro, because like look at it. They're really, they're surrounded by top 3 offense every single year. And then they get drafted high to a shitty team and they can't rely on the big name players anymore.
I think it's kind of like also is like all those guys that you're listing are like crazy athletes as well. Like they're not like pocket passers where they're like freaking diming you up. Like they can throw the ball really well. Don't get me wrong, but like they're playmakers too. Like they're not sitting back there like Trevor Lawrence and dotting you up. Like they're freaking gonna roll out. They could run for fucking 50 yards and sauce your ass on the way there. And they'll throw a dot, but like they're not like gonna sit back.
It's like one of those like if CJ Stroud's a bust, they got to low key look into it because like
right, because he's talented.
It's just so common, bro. It's so common. Every year they suck in the NFL, and I don't get it at all. It's like, and it's not even like a conspiracy. Like they literally all suck. It makes no sense. But yeah, so we're all rocking Ohio State there, right?
Yeah, I think I'm gonna go like close first half, but then I'm gonna go like Ohio State wins like fuck. I'm gonna go like 31-14. I think that it'll be close in the first half, like a 10-7, and then Notre Dame's just not gonna be good. They're gonna be.
So we got a weird one. We got Utah at UF.
Give me.
I don't really know much about Utah.
I don't really know.
I know
much
they're
about
good.
UF.
UF is so I don't know who's their head coach again. The dude from was he from Liberty?
No, he's from Lafayette.
Okay, Lafayette.
Why can't I remember his name?
Let me look.
They
Yeah,
went.
I mean, are they starting Anthony
What the
Richardson?
hell is his name? I can't. Yeah. Their backup. I don't remember his name either. I'm drawing blanks on everything. He just went to Arizona State to play under Herm Edwards.
It wasn't
Billy
Napier.
Napier. Yeah, Napier.
Oh, okay.
But I'm trying to get into contact with some of their guys at UF to bring them on to the pod and talk a little bit about what they think about Napier. So I don't know too much from the inside. Obviously, on the outside, it sounds good. Like they're never going to make it sound bad. So it's like really hard to truly know what's going on there. With Utah though, like
they're sneaky good.
They're sneaky good, but they don't win big games.
What was their? Let me look at their stuff from last
year.
They're
sneaky good. They're sneaky good with sneaky talent, but they don't win huge games. They win the games. Utah wins the games they're supposed to win every year. They win the games they're supposed to win.
I see Utah. I haven't found a name for it yet, but I want to find it. Utah is that college team that when you need a team to expose a fraudulent good team,
yes,
you send the fucking Utes down yonder. and the Utes are gonna pull out a fucking like 42-14 ass whooping, and then they'll go back to, and then they'll go right like literally the week after
lose
they're
Colorado.
Like, Charleston Southern, and it's like they lose 21-17. It's like what the fuck? Like, what? It's like
no, but that's spot on though. That's
literally every year they like I'll never forget because it's happened the past 2 years now. I will literally be out at like the wharf at like Fort Lauderdale. It's like 1 a.m. in the morning, and it'll be like, oh my god, breaking news! Like it is like the fourth quarter. Utah and UCLA have scored like 10 touchdowns in the last 7 minutes. Like here's the highlights, and I'm just like standing in the bar like, wow, is Utah good? And then I have no idea. I literally have no fucking clue. And then I look at the end of the year, and it's like up Utah. They're either ranked like 24th. No, here's how it is every year. They're preseason ranked like 20-25 range, and they'll finish like middle of the pack 15th, or they're completely unranked. Will lose the games that they're supposed to win, and then win games that they're not supposed to win.
Or what they do a lot too is they go 2-3 their first 3 games, and then blow everybody out. At like 9 or 8, and then get in a big bowl game.
Where is this game at? Are these games all neutral?
No, I think this one's at UF. UF.
That's gonna be tough. I'm gonna go UF then, just cause. But UF is kind of frauds to me.
I gotta go in 2 ways. I think it either goes. I think it's a blowout either way. I don't think it's a good game. I think Anthony Richardson can't get an offense fast enough to match with Utah, and Utah mops them, and they win by like a high scoring offensive battle. Or UF beats them in like a 21-10 game. That's like an ass whooping. Just like slow and controlled, and they just drain that clock, and they use that. But Utah's defense is usually pretty good.
I take it back. I think Utah's just going to go into the swamp and fuck them up. I take it back. I'm going to just go that just because I feel like UF is so like undisciplined. They're so, I don't know how the new coach will have them, but Mullins, they look like shit.
UF is Alabama, but like a tier below. Like they have like everything to beat them, and they just, for some reason, they can never get a good quarterback. Their defense is always either filthy or awful. Like it makes no sense.
They can't cover anybody. They could not cover the past 2 years. I'm like watching them. I'm like, this is a fucking 8 yards a clip every time. They can't tackle. They can't cover. I'm like,
they can't tackle. They can never tackle. Except Jordan Young. Shout out Jordan Young.
Shout out. The one thing I will say is the last time, or when I think of UF and I think of the word undisciplined, I think back to 08 UF, which scares the shit out of me. And that kind of reminds me of exactly what Richardson is for UF. That man, I literally do not have an answer for. When I watch him play, I literally have no idea what the fuck he's going to do with the football. And that absolutely terrifies me because he is one of the best athletes I've seen with a football in his hand.
He's a freak.
That man is,
but I think he's going to get injured.
Yeah, I would never
watch and he's going to get injured.
I would never wish the injury bug on anyone.
I'm not wishing it on
anyone. I know that. I don't want to put that out there. But if he stays healthy throughout the year, disciplined or not, I'm just excited to see what he'll do. I'm more curious to see what he'll do for that program rather than the success of the program itself.
So you guys know the backstory to him, to like why he chose UF?
I don't know.
He was born and raised in Gainesville. Was like a high recruited quarterback, like a 4-star, 5-star, something crazy. it only wanted to play at UF. Grew up his whole life going to all the UF games, wanted to be a UF Gator. And he wears 15 because Tim Tebow's his favorite player, and he got permission from Tim Tebow to wear that number. And they call him AR-15. And like
that's a lit nickname.
Yeah,
Shit.
and he's wanted to play there forever. So like I kind of respect him in that. And look, I'm not wishing an injury upon this kid. That's not what I meant by that. What I mean by it is I think he's going to do too much. I don't think his offense has enough weapons for him, and he's going to get frustrated and he's going to get flustered and he's going to end up overdoing it, and it could cause an injury. It could cause him to wear and tear throughout the season.
Like he's got to be, he's got to freaking like do everything himself. Damn near.
Exactly, and that's what I'm saying. I think it's going to cause him to get not injured, but it could change his play. You don't want to do that. You never want a quarterback has to go above and beyond. You want to give a quarterback a list of things, and then they just knock out that list. You know,
I wonder like there's a difference between like being like a really good quarterback and like winning games, or like kind of being like not like a stat stuffer, but you know what I mean? Like where some guys like put up crazy numbers, but like they just never can win. Like I wonder if that's how this UF team's gonna be, because like I feel like he's gonna have, you know what I mean? Like he might have
Mahomes in college.
Yeah, exactly. Like he's just fucking going nuts and like doing everything he can, but like they just can't pull out a game because the rest of the team ain't it.
I could see that. I think it could be that, or it could be their offense just gets no production at all.
Yeah, like who are their receivers?
Exactly.
Who's their running back, bro? And they lost like some old, like I feel like they lost a good amount of people, like some.
Yeah,
like,
no, they lost. I'm pretty sure they lost all three of their running backs.
Yeah, they did. Pierce, Malik,
and like another kid. They're gone.
And I think I don't know. I feel like they definitely lost a receiver. I know that.
They lost a starting corner. They lost Eaton.
Yeah, they're in trouble. Oh, that dude's nice. I fuck with him. Yeah, I think
so. We're all right. So I'm gonna go. Like I said, if I had to pick one, I think I'm gonna go UF just because it's at home. But I also would not be shocked if Utah runs it up on them. So that's my prediction.
I'm gonna go Utah, 28-17.
Just because it's early in the season, I'm probably gonna go Florida. I agree with Grayson said, probably a more slow, controlled game. I just as much as I try to call out SEC supremacy, I catch myself favoring them a lot in matchups, and
they're the best conference. Like you don't have to like them.
Don't you dare say that.
They're the best.
Honestly, the way I see it ending up, it's probably going to be around like 28-21, and then I'm probably say I could see AR-15 running for over 100 yards. I think he's going to have.
Yes, he's going to have to. He's going to have to.
Yeah,
it's hard for me to pick Utah when they're at Florida, but like fuck it. Florida hasn't proven shit to me.
Facts.
Yeah, so we talked a lot of college football. Caleb, you want to talk a little bit about the Heat forcing Game 7 against the Celtics? Dude,
that game last night was pretty nutty. Like it was going back and forth. I mean, okay, so the winners got to play the Warriors. So they're going. The Celtics kind of just folded because now they got to go back to back to Miami and win this, and like that's gonna be tough. I don't know who's gonna win. I really think that the Warriors win the whole thing either way, but I think that both their rosters are so talented, bro. I think that I'm gonna just go. I think the Heat are gonna close it out at home, bro. I feel like that they got like Jimmy Butler, like Duncan Robinson. That he might just go nuts. Like you never know who's gonna go nuts.
Is Hero back this game?
I don't know. That's what I was thinking. The injuries are kind of weird. I feel like he might play. I don't even know what happened to him.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's a knee injury. He hasn't played last 3 games. The one thing I will say is I think the Celtics have been the best team.
That's a Boston fan, by the way.
Yeah.
I love the Celtics. I want the Celtics to win.
Yeah. So the way I see it is, I'll start with the game last night. So it was a 111-104 victory for the Heat. It was 99-99 at one point. The Celtics had come all the way back, and then you go into the fourth quarter, you tie the game up. This is supposed to be where you pull away. You're at home. You just got momentum. You made back threes with Derek White. He's literally been carrying you all game.
He went nuts.
And then in the fourth quarter, you have Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown combining for 2 field goal attempts the entire fourth quarter, and then Tatum having all 4 turnovers in that fourth quarter between the two. That cannot happen.
Too much. He's trying to do too much.
They were up like Zach, weren't they up like 3 at one point? Like I thought that that's when they were about to pull away.
It was 97-94, and then
right there.
The problem is it's not that Tatum wasn't doing too much. It's that you can't have selective aggressiveness. Like you can't shoot. Like I understand you want to like kind of pace it out where it's like, all right, you want to be like full capacity when you go out of this drive. So like you get the buckets you need for your team. But like you make it painfully obvious when Marcus Smart has been the primary ball handler coming down the court. And then suddenly Tatum starts to take over. And then now you want to set up a 5 wide and you want to try to go one-on-one. Like, no, the Heat don't work like that. They're going to allow you to drive inside. And then they're going to bring that secondary help, which we saw a lot of. Like, for example, they got the switch they wanted with Tatum on Strus. Tatum did exactly what he was supposed to do. Strus baited him into taking the lane. He took the lane. The moment he tried to go for a spin move, you had PJ Tucker and fucking Jimmy Butler pinning him down for steals. That can't happen. If you know the Heat are forcing double teams on your best player, draw the double team, kick out to the open man, let your role players beat them. You saw Grant Williams has it when he dropped 27 against Milwaukee or whatever. You know Al Horford's been big time this entire playoff run. The man has played.
He hit some clutch threes last night. He
did.
Al Horford has played, and they showed us last night. I think it's like his 140th playoff game, and he hasn't been to the finals once. Dude. I am so tired of every Celtics team making it to the conference finals and fucking blowing.
And Derek White's been snapping too. Like you guys have, like you got the pieces. I feel like some of the possessions are just like I remember Marcus Smart shot a 3 and I was like, fuck, like he's not a shooter like that. You know what I mean? Like I was like, oh fuck, like this is looking bad.
Yo, regardless though, you gotta admit this is one of the most fun conference finals. Like,
oh yeah,
it's so unpredictable. Every game is so unpredictable.
I love like both their rosters too. I don't even cheer for an NBA team, but I love Tatum, I love Jaylen Brown, I like Marcus Smart, and then on the other side, I love Jimmy Butler, I like Duncan Rob. Like I love like all the players. Like it's a good matchup for sure.
We were talking about it last night. We were watching the game, and something that I always praise Jimmy Butler for is like, first of all, he's a dog. He dropped 47.
I love him.
Dude's a dog, and he's been a dog. And no one ever believed in him. They didn't believe in him with the Bulls. When he was on the Timberwolves, he literally beat the starters with the third stringers in practice and was talking smack. Like he's always been a dog. But the thing is he has games like last night where he puts up 47, and and his stats show how good he is. And then he has games where his stats are like they're pretty solid. But if you watch the game, he's the reason they won that game. He's
impacting the game outside of just scoring.
Yes, exactly. He's better than off the stats. Like he'll play lockdown defense. He controls the floor. He gets the ball moving right, and the players play behind him. You know, and someone made a reference to LeBron, and I kind of agree. As a leader, he's kind of like LeBron in that sense. Like he'll have games where his stats aren't off the charts, but if you watch the game, he's the reason that everything moved the way it did.
Yeah, like he'll have games where he has 12 points, but like whatever, like they're winning, and like like you said, he's fucking playing great defense. Like he's probably had like 2 blocks, 3 steals. Like he's diving on the floor, like
contested every shot.
Even shit like as little as like bro, just encouraging like his teammates and shit like that, where like he's just lifting people up because he has that level of respect. Like that shit really matters. So like he definitely is like their most important player.
So I do 100%. Agree that the Warriors are probably going to win it all. I fucking hate the Warriors. But I think the Celtics have a better shot matchup wise than
me too. Me too. I want the Celtics to win.
I want the Heat to win because of South Florida, of course. But I think the Celtics have more depth the Celtics bring more to the table for Golden State to have to worry about than I think the Heat do. If they shut down Jimmy Butler, it's gonna be really hard for the rest of the team to keep that game.
Yeah, there's more there, and like because Kyle Lowry's not it.
He's not it. And Oladipo's solid, but he's not gonna carry.
He's been out too many. He's been out like 2 years. He's still getting his shit back. You can see he's rusty as hell, and he's really like that when he's going. Mm-hmm. So like, that should be something to look.
Yeah, 2 things. Kyle Lowry is a thick man's Chris Paul, and number 2. I think the Celtics are still going to pull out the win in Game 7. The only reason I say this is because it's very rarely you're going to see Tatum lay a goose egg back-to-back games. Now, I know it's hard to say he laid a goose egg. Oh, he had 30 points. He had 30 and 9. He did not have the 30 and 9 you typically expect from a game. Like if Tatum's going out, and especially Jaylen Brown with the 2 missed free throws late in the game, that kind of killed the momentum. He just had a bad game. I don't love seeing it, obviously, but from what I've seen this year, they've done a great job of bouncing back from really tough losses. what really changed my mind for the Celtics this entire year was it was in that Milwaukee series where they lost that crucial game to go down 3-2. Everyone thought it was over there. You failed to get a rebound off the free throw. You end up losing the game. It was terrible. You end up winning back-to-back games to claim the series off the defending champions. That gave you all the hype in the world. You go into this Heat series, every game up until this like last one has been a fucking blowout. Like you're just blowing each other out. You haven't played consistently. Finally, we're starting to see consistent basketball towards the end. And for this game 7, I think Tatum is finally going to get back into his groove, which he has been this entire series, this entire year. And I think they'll be able to close it out. I think Jimmy's just done too much this entire series. He's literally been putting his body through hell. I have nothing but the utmost respect for him, but I just don't see him getting it done in 7.
Yo, but it being in Miami is huge, bro.
I know that's tough.
That is definitely a huge factor. That's a factor in the game.
That arena is going to be going nuts.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, the Celtics went to Milwaukee and took it from Milwaukee.
Yeah, but it's not game 7 of the conference championship. That's the difference.
And I feel like the Heat fans are more rowdy than Milwaukee.
Yeah, I agree.
You think so?
Yeah, you think I'm the defending champs, dude? I don't know. Milwaukee.
I don't know. I'm just talking bullshit.
Dude, I think the community of Miami is going to go nuts for this game tomorrow. I think it's going to be, and it's on Memorial, or no, it's not Memorial. It's the day before Memorial Day. People are going to go nuts because no work on Monday.
Oof.
And we can sit here and say, oh, that doesn't matter. We were all athletes. That definitely fucking matters. That definitely matters.
That's tough.
All I'll say is
I'm not putting a prediction because I have with the way the series has been. I could see either team blowing each other out. I could see either team barely winning. Like it could go any way, which makes it must watch.
I hope it's a close one. That's all I want.
Biggest thing.
Close one.
Yeah, biggest thing I'd say to look for in the matchup, though, is I would like to see Miami go back and utilize Bam Adebayo when they did in their blowout win against the Celtics. If the Celtics decide to roll out Tice a little more, I don't know how Robert Williams is doing. Yeah, Robert. I don't know how Robert Williams is doing coming off his like injury. I know they've been trying to like kind of spot his minutes, like kind of cut down, make sure he doesn't re-injure himself. But when you have Tice on the floor, Bam Adebayo eats. That man put up a ridiculous stat line. I forget which game it was, but he ate. And the Heat won that game. If you can get Bam rolling and kind of take the pressure off of Lowry, Strus, especially Jimmy, you just need Jimmy to be able to relax for once in his fucking life. And I don't know how he isn't bald yet. He's the long lost son of fucking Michael Jordan. That man needs a break for once in his life. And if they want that to happen, they need Bam to get rolling. On the Celtics side of things, Tatum has to be Tatum, and then Jaylen Brown, do your thing, dog. You averaged 24 this series. You've averaged 24 for the playoffs. We just need that from you. Tatum's going to give you what you expect from him. Smart's going to play lockdown defense like he always does. He's the defensive player of the year for a reason. You know what you have in your roster. Don't try to complicate things. You've been doing it all year. You know what your team produces. Just fucking act like it.
It's gonna be a good ass game. Last night was a great fucking game too.
Amazing. I hate it how it ended, but
I'm gonna switch sides and just go Celtics because I want the Celtics to win, and I'd rather see fucking Marcus Smart guard Steph Curry than Kyle Lowry. So
yeah,
go Celtics.
Oh my god, I didn't even think about that. You don't just put Jimmy B on him. You don't just say fuck it.
Oof. I guess you could because Jimmy's only like 6'4", so like he's not even like he's like 6'8", where he's like, you know what I'm saying? Like Jimmy, I guess could guard him. I don't know what they would do, but then who the fuck is Kyle Lowry gonna guard? Like Jordan Poole, he's about to get cooked.
I don't know, man. Kyle Lowry's pretty thick, dog.
I don't like him. I hate his
Zach's
game.
really stressing the thickness on Kyle Lowry.
Bro, you have no idea. When you watch him play, it makes no sense because he's like, he literally looks like that kid in middle school who, you know who he is? He's literally Gunther. He's literally Gunther. Gunther is just this stout body who you look at and you're like, yeah, this guy probably doesn't play any sports. And then it's literally like 100 miles an hour doing everything. And you're like, okay, like this man is literally the physical embodiment of a brick, but okay. But yeah, the playoffs have been very exciting this year, especially. For some reason, I feel like it's always better without LeBron, even though I love watching LeBron.
Too much emphasis on him. There's too much.
Yeah. Like it's good to bring up LeBron once in a while, but when literally, like, dude, the other day they're covering the Heat, and the main topic storyline was about how the Lakers signed a new head coach. Who gives a fuck? Who gives a fuck? They're in the middle of the conference finals. You want to talk about signing a head coach? Wait till the offseason, dog.
Like, signing a head coach to a team that didn't even make the fucking playoffs.
Yeah, who
The
gives
Lakers were sorry.
Okay, and let's be really honest. Who's the head coach? Who's the head coach of the Lakers? Who's really the head coach of the Lakers? Not who.
It's LeBron.
Yeah, it's legit.
It's LeBron.
It's legit.
Yeah, but yeah. So big game tomorrow, tomorrow. Let's move on from that. So some MMA. We're gonna talk about Paddy Pimblet signs a new fight. I actually really like this fight a lot. So Paddy's 18-3. He's coming off of 4 straight first round finishes. He's they're kind of trying to make him the next Conor because he's got that accent from he's a Scouser. So he's got that accent. He's good. The dude's good. Very good. But, the UFC's doing their typical, let's feed him easy fights, build his name, build everything up. They even gave him this fight in his hometown in England.
Damn.
And so this fight's going to happen on the London card again. I do think he's good. And the thing I like about this fight is this is an actual test. Like this is like Jordan Levitt is a legitimate fighter. He's 10-1. 7 of his 10 wins are by finish and 6 of them are by submission. Fights out of Syndicate MMA in Las Vegas, which is an extremely good camp. I could see him trying to take it to the ground instantly and just not even trying to say fuck it with the striking. I went in Vegas not too long ago. I rolled with Jordan Levitt a little bit, and
Really?
the jiu-jitsu is disgusting. Like his pressure is so like he's very good on the ground. Now
he's striking like the best. Is that his thing? Like his thing?
Paddy's
like,
more of a striker, but he does have solid ground game.
Okay.
I just like it because I think it's a good test. The UFC has a trend of either just feeding you sorry guys for a long time or they're giving you a way too hard guy right off the bat. So I feel like this is a very perfect middle match that's going to actually – Paddy's not going to put him to sleep in the first. Like, he's just not.
When is this fight?
July?
Okay, July. So, okay.
I believe it's July. I believe it's July 20th, to be completely honest.
Yeah. I don't know. The longer or I don't say the longer, but the deeper we get into UFC's – I guess career as a whole, I'm starting to lose my favoritism with strikers. I just feel like the ground game has become the end all be all for MMA,
really.
Especially. We've seen it. I mean, even talks now when we talk about the Makhachev Oliveira matchup, like people are already saying Makhachev's a favorite just because of how dominant his ground game is. But like specifically with Paddy going against Levitt, I don't like how Paddy's first test is not with another striker of his caliber, but it's with someone that is a worse matchup for him. I don't think it's good going into it, but I do think it's a great test to see where Paddy actually stands as a rounded fighter. We've seen the striking, we've seen his ability with putting fighters out in early rounds, but can he win those dog fights? Is he able to bounce back from a round where he just got dogged on the ground? Is he going to be able to survive a round where he has to empty the gas tank early and he has to fucking catch his breath again? Like, we haven't seen these things from him as a fighter that we'd like to see. So I do think this is the perfect matchup to see what Paddy's made of. I don't know if it's the perfect matchup to see if he's a real fighter or not, though. But either way, I am looking forward to it. I think it's about time that we start exposing hype trains a little early. I think Dana's trying to go a little too much with the boxing route of trying to like eliminate zeros off of guys' things, but you can't run in the UFC. We're not that deep into the sport where we have like 50 guys per division. You got to prove yourself sooner or later, and Paddy's time's now. So he either has it or he doesn't. But I
agree that beating Jordan Levitt does not make him a contender. That's not what I'm saying, but it makes him a legitimate UFC rostered fighter.
Yeah.
Jordan Levitt, like in the UFC, there's guys that shouldn't be in there. There's guys that are very legit that'll probably never touch a belt, but like they're solid. And then you have your contenders. And I think Jordan Levitt's a solid middle guy. He's a guy who if you lose to him, you're probably not too ready to be in the UFC. But if you beat him, you showed that like all right,
you're getting over the hump.
Exactly. That's a very legitimate, respected fighter. And I think that's why I like this fight a lot. And like Zach said, it's gonna test his character. Paddy's cockiness and his like I just run through everyone. He's not gonna run through Jordan Levitt. He's not. He's gonna, even if he beats him, it's gonna be it's gonna take a lot for him to beat him. Like, it's a good fight. So it's exciting to see. Like it might be a little boring, honestly, because he's gonna be tested. But that's a fight as someone that's not a regular that actually enjoys watching the fight. It's fun to watch, So I don't know who's gonna win. I like that fight a lot.
I liked what y'all were saying about like this is like a good test because 4 straight first round finishes, like that's a lot. Like 4 fights in a row first round. So like we'll see. Like this will really be a test. Like can he go up like a whole? Is it 5 rounds?
It'll be 3
5?
rounds. It'll be three.
Okay, like can he go a whole 3 rounds? Like because like from fighting. I mean, that shit is so tiring. It just they're gassed at the end, bro. Like can he really make it? Can he make
Especially if it's a ground dominant fight. That's when
like
you gas him.
Yeah, like this will really be like a test of like his fundamentals and like what he's really like how skillful he is for like not being on stand up and striking. So
yeah, and I like Paddy. I think he's fun. I think he's good for the sport. I don't like the unprofessionalism of him that a lot of people like. Like I think he's funny. I think he's good, and I like the accent. I like all that, but the thing about Connor was extremely professional in everything he did, and Paddy's not. Paddy's still kind of like a kid. Like you're 20, he's 28, 27. Like, why are you blowing up and eating cake after a fight, bro? Like, I get it.
He gets fat as fuck.
And listen, I get it if you're an amateur, and I get it if you're like a high school wrestler, but you're a UFC fighter now, bro. Stay in shape. That shit's gonna lead to injury. You're gonna get a weight cut. You miss weight. Like, it's good. The week after your fight, get as fat as you want, but then you instantly get back to it, bro. Like, you should be staying ready. And what I don't like about it too is with his rise to stardom, it being in the sport it's a bad example for kids, like kids that are wrestlers or kids that are fighters. That's not how you should be. You should never be trying to add extra weight to cut. Like that's bad. That's not good. So maybe this is the fight that humbles him and he becomes more professional. But like when you compare him to Connor was always professional.
So my bad. Go ahead.
The one thing I was going to say is you talk about professionalism with Connor, but I think a lot of people might get misconstrued because Connor brought a lot of disrespect, not to the sport, but just like in kind of like how he carried himself. Like he was kind of like just fuck you everyone else, like I'm the man type of deal. But he was still professional about it. He never brought the sport down in any way. Like you brought on Paddy Pimblet's case, he doesn't set a good standard for fighters. Connor set the standard for fighters. He just talked a little differently. Like he was a little more outgoing with how he thought about his own fights, and that's completely fine. It's okay to talk yourself up. It's okay to carry yourself in a certain way as long as you don't bring any disrespect to the sport. Connor never missed weight. Connor always fucking came to fights and brought a show with him. Like Connor was always prepared, and that
always took hard fights too. Connor took hard fights.
And that's the thing. That's the thing about professionalism with the UFC that I think a lot of times goes disregarded is if you're always making weight, if you're always taking the fight and you're always putting on a show for the fans, you're free to do whatever you want. Mm-hmm. No one is going to complain as long as you are holding up your end of the bargain, and the UFC will allow you to do it your way, which I think I'm a big proponent of. Is not everyone carries themselves the same, and I think we see that in a lot of people's press conferences. Like you see some guys are a lot more outgoing on the mic, and the UFC allows them to express themselves, whereas some guys don't really want to be on the mic. They only want to answer like a question or two. That's fine. They might not get as much notoriety, but they still carry a level of professionalism with them. And I think with Paddy, you kind of get to with Paddy, I kind of see it as like you're bringing too much entertainment into the aspect. Like this is a WWE, like this is a sport where people are going out to murder each other. Like you can like show Paddy is like kind of like, oh, he's the funny like playoff of the UFC, but at the end of the day, Paddy is still going into a cage to fucking murder someone. Mm-hmm. Like that, like if you want to be a UFC fighter because it's funny, because you want to be like a jokester like Paddy, you're gonna get hurt. You're gonna seriously get yourself hurt. So I just have a problem with the way they kind of portray Paddy to the world from the UFC's perspective.
Clownish.
Yeah, it's clownish behavior. But I'm a firm believer that the sports gods will straighten that out. If Paddy wants to continue to act like they want to continue portraying him that way, then he's gonna run into an opponent that's gonna treat it like a fucking like it's his life, and he's gonna beat him like his life depends on it.
Vito Vera versus Sugar Sean. Exactly what happened. And
I love Sean O'Malley, but I'm not stupid enough to say that he's going to be a champion.
Yeah.
I feel like he's never fighting hard. Like he's never taken Grayson. That's why I asked you the other day. I'm like, who's he fighting?
Cheeto Vera. No. Cheeto Vera is a dog. But
yeah, I know. But I'm saying like, yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like he hasn't. The last dude.
His next fight's legit as fuck. Pedro Munoz. He fights him on the Izzy card. Very, very, very good fighter.
Okay, good. Then we'll see about that.
And he's never been knocked out.
And that's
So
sugar
Sean's going to
Sean.
go 3. They're going to go 3 rounds.
Yeah. I'm excited for Sean because Sean even came out and said himself, he's like, I'm an entertainer first. He's like, I don't really care about belt chasing, any of this. He's like, I just want to put on a show. And hey, for prelims and like maybe like opening up a main card, that's great for like showing fans like, oh, here's a bunch of cool like kicks and shit. Like that's fine. But as long as he acknowledges he's not getting any title shot anytime soon, that's fine.
Well, now he's going on the path of it. Now he's trying to hunt it.
See, if he's going on a path now, then yeah, you might want to go away from all the kind of capoeira style where you do a lot of crazy kicks and stuff. Maybe like solidify. Like I know he says he's worked a lot on his ground game. I don't know what belt he is at jiu-jitsu.
Yeah, hey, listen, real quick. Sorry to interrupt you. That doesn't mean shit, dude. There's gyms that give guys belts just because they're fame and like that should happen all the time.
If Sean really wants to prove himself as like a legitimate all-around fighter, I need to see some ground game. Like I need to see some. Because all I see now is like he lands a solid punch, and rather than press the guy on the ground and end it by throwing some like good ground and pound, he literally just like get back up. He's like, I want to end you with like a 360 crane kick. Like, bro, come on.
Sean, though, if you're a main event fighter, he's the dream matchup for your opening pay-per-view. He's the greatest opening pay-per-view fighter of all time, in my opinion.
Yeah,
greatest opening pay-per-view fighter.
He will set the tone.
Yeah, he's gonna if you throw him on a pay-per-view card. And it's like the buys aren't that good, and you throw him on the first fight, instantly Twitter's going to skyrocket with whatever he did, and that card's going to blow up. Like he's the dream fighter for an opening a pay-per-view.
Yeah, especially because there's a lot of the times where I won't even know, like especially for the lesser fight cards, like I won't know that they're on just because they're not as advertised as much. But if I'm scrolling on Twitter and I see like, oh, great first round finish by this prelim fighter, and I'm like, wow, that was actually a really cool thing, I might tune into it. I might look at it. If you forgot that card was going on and you check Twitter and you see Sean O'Malley just landed a crazy ass knockout, you might want to tune into that. Like it's going to make you want to tune in. So those are the things you kind of need. Like it's like, I understand you only want winners on your roster, but look at Justin Gaethje. Gaethje hasn't won all his fights, but that man has put on a fucking performance of the night
or
every
like
night.
A Cowboy or somebody like that.
Or like Chandler too.
Yeah, or Chandler. Yeah,
he's my favorite. Chandler's my favorite.
Yeah, these are all dogs that, despite win or lose, they put on a fucking show, and I love to watch it. That's why, like, I'm glad the UFC isn't so much winning based. Like, I know the ultimate goal is belts, but the fans still care so much about fights that aren't for belts. We still watch those 3 round prelim cards between up and coming fighters and like those proven guys that are like going towards the end of their career. Like we like watching it all. Like we're still gonna watch. So I hope the UFC doesn't deviate from that. But I'm excited where the UFC's at now. I'm really excited with all that. Moving into other sports news, we finally got some baseball. I've been disregarding our baseball fans out there.
Shout out Phil Hobbs.
Yeah, shout out Philip Hobbs. Big time fan and wanted to see some baseball. So let's talk about it. In recent MLB news, I know we're early in the season, but we have some drama. Tommy Pham, a player for the San Francisco Giants, reportedly is being investigated for an incident with Jock Peterson. Apparently, during batting practice, a dispute broke out over BP, which caused Pham to pimp slap Jock Peterson, a la Will Smith style. Both players seem remorseful and apologetic about it, saying they don't want to be a distraction to the team, yet the MLB is investigating. So apparently some background on this situation is they were doing BP. Apparently before this, Pham and Jock had never had any like talks, like they had never really interacted with each other. They got into an argument over fantasy football over like IR players, and then straight up walked up to him and bitch slapped the shit out of him. That was it. Dugouts separated them. They both apologized, saying happened, whatever. They're coming off some losses. So like, the tension's high in the dugout. You're not performing how you want. You're a little annoyed. There's two things about this that I wanted to talk about. Number one, I don't know how you guys feel about organizations meddling with team related issues. Like, for example, if an issue is going on between like within a team, like interpersonal, like whether it be coach to player, player to player, GM to player, whatever the dynamic may be between it, I don't like the MLB stepping in as soon as they did. Let teams sort out their own issues before you try to start policing them. there's no reason a guy needs to be suspended if his own teammate is literally standing there being like, oh yeah, it was no big deal. Why are you stepping in, making a bigger deal about it when their own team can handle their own issues? Number two, I completely understand smacking someone over fantasy football because anything goes in fantasy football. You talk shit about fantasy football, anything can happen. So I just wanted your guys' opinions on what you think about the governing body of sports, so such as like MLB, meddling within organizations' affairs. Like, how would you feel about, like, let's say the NFL getting into an issue with like a football team between players?
He didn't punch him; he slapped him, right?
He literally just
a little like,
bro. I think you let grown men handle grown men situations. Like, there's no reason. Like,
right?
If
they had beef, they could have. I think they should have been able to throw hands for 5 minutes or 5 seconds and be like, all right, we're cool, we're good. If he punched him, all right, mate. They're grown fucking men, bro. Like,
there's like certain we're like, if you cross a line, you know what I'm saying? But like a little like a slap, come on. It's not like they were fucking brawling and like beating the shit out of each
even
other.
Even if they had a 30-second beef where they threw hands and they were like, all right, we're cool now. Why get involved? Who gives a fuck? They're grown men.
I also think like in like basketball and football, like you think that those players aren't fighting in practice sometimes. You know what I mean? Like you're going like, bro, like
all
what
the
time.
time.
Like, yeah, that's what I'm saying. So like I think the MLB should like they need to just fuck off and not get involved.
Bro,
Like,
I've been in wrestling rooms where people start fist fighting because
that's what I'm saying.
And then after the practice, like, all right, I love you, brother. I'm sorry, we just got heated. Like that shit happens all the time. There's like what?
The MLB shouldn't even be like reaching. They should. The only thing that maybe they should say is like, is everything good? Like they shouldn't be reaching out and investigating. Like if the fucking manager and the players and the team's cool and they have it settled, then leave it the fuck alone. That's all.
And making it public. Like, why are you letting everybody know about this?
Yeah, exactly. They just made it worse.
Yeah, exactly. And that's another thing why I will 100% stand by. Rob Manfred is the worst thing to ever happen to fucking baseball I've ever seen in my life. You cannot have a guy run your sport that, first of all, he referred to your own championship trophy as a piece of metal. He doesn't even value the championship of the sport he fucking owns and operates. I don't know if he owns it, but operates it. Like, the dude just doesn't have respect for the game. He doesn't understand any of the unwritten rules that go within the sport. He doesn't understand any, like, I don't even think he understands like the basics of the game. Like, I truthfully don't. I just feel like he's a lawyer.
You think he watches games?
He may go to a game to sit down, but he is definitely like on his phone the entire. He's the guy you bring to a baseball game that like you get to like the fourth inning and you're like, oh, how much longer are they playing? And you're like, bro, why the fuck did I bring you? Like, what are you doing here? Like he annoys me so fucking much, and the sport would be so much better off without him. But he's just an overqualified man in the wrong position. Like, yeah, you're a lawyer. You know rules. Cool. Anyone can read a fucking handbook and tell you what should happen. But like when like certain shit goes on that needs like some moral, like you have like if you have a moral dilemma within the sport that you need like a new rule to be implemented, he's not the guy for that because he's not going to understand from either side. He's just going to put it from like a money-making perspective. I feel like that's how he just looks at the game. It's from a money-making perspective. How can he improve the game? And he doesn't really care about the fans. I don't think he cares about the players at all or the organizations. So
I agree.
I mean, yeah,
I'm not even big into baseball like that, but like the way that he handled the whole like Astro shit and then referring to the stuff as a piece of metal, like that shit really like that fucked the game up so bad. And I like baseball, but like I don't pay attention as much as some people, but like the way that he handled that was fucking nuts. And then also, what do you think of like the unspoken rules? Like some of like when like teams are getting fucking clobbered and they put someone in and they're throwing it and they're just hitting dingers and people are getting pissed.
I look at it in two ways, and it's both the same way. Baseball is the only sport where, well, it's not the only sport, but it's one of the only team sports where like there's not a clock involved. You can't. It's not like in football where like you have a big lead, you can take a knee. I don't care if you're up 200-0 or 1-0. You still have to pitch me the ball, and I still have to try to score runs, and you still have to put me out. If I'm up 10-0 in the first, you may come back over those 9 innings and put up 10 runs because I put up 10 runs in one fucking inning. You can do the same shit. I don't understand about this unwritten rule shit. And another thing is when they get mad about players like hitting home runs off of position players that you put in, dude, their contracts are decided based off the stats they put up through the entire year. Them them taking that one at bat off just to make you feel better about themselves might be like the 0.3 difference and them making $1 million extra or not.
Why
Like,
is it my fault that you guys suck?
Yeah, right. Like,
why is it my fault?
Fuck y'all.
Yeah. Like, okay. The only thing that I may not understand with is like, if you're up 10-0 and you put on a suicide squeeze, like, okay, that may be a little overdoing it.
Or bunting or something like that.
Okay. This is the one thing I will forever hate. If you bunt with a perfect game or no hitter going on,
Yeah.
and
Fuck you.
If you bunt, okay, if it's before, I'll say this: if it's before like the 6th inning, I'll understand a bunt. It's still early in the game. You can still get something going. That'll be fine. If it's later in the game and you just can't figure out what to do at the plate and you're like,
you just want to ruin his perfect game.
Yeah. You just want to shit on that guy.
Shit like that. I would do some petty shit
You
like that. I'd be like,
bro, get a hit like a real man.
I don't know if I would bunt. I mean, if I'm fast as fuck and I'm seeing a little like, oh, fuck this game.
Okay. You can bunt. That's fine. But
I think it depends on the situation. If it's like 0-0 and I'm trying to get on base, fuck yeah, I'll bunt.
No, if it's a perfect game, no. It's a perfect. Here's the scenario.
Okay.
It's a perfect game. You're the last hitter in the game, and you go to
bunt. You're a pussy.
Yeah.
Okay, not the last hitter in the game.
Fuck you.
I wouldn't do that. I'm
hit
saying
the ball like a real man.
Okay, that's different. I would hit the ball, but I'm saying 0-0. Like I'm trying to win the game, and it's like the 7th, 8th inning. Like I'm gonna bunt and get on base, and maybe my boy will knock me in. Shit. If I'm fast as shit, I would go. If I'm trying to win, fuck his game.
Yeah. If it's 0-0-1-0, where like that one run, like
that's what I'm saying. Yes.
Yeah, you need one base runner. I completely understand it. That's fine. Shit happens. But if you're up like nothing, and your run means nothing, and I see square around to bunt,
I 100% agree. I can agree with that.
Yo, also listen, another unwritten rule that I actually think is some pussy shit is if the count's 3-0 and you throw a fastball down the fucking middle, I'm going yard.
Hit that shit a mile.
Going yard. Like
I'm
what?
100%.
I think that's the stupidest when they got mad at the Pirates when they did that. Like, don't throw it down the fucking middle. It's your fault. It's 3-0. It's not mine. Like, why am I
throw that
getting
bitch down the middle?
Don't
throw it down the middle.
Yeah, like what?
I'm hitting that.
Exactly. I didn't make the count go 3-0. I read your pitches. I did my job. I did a good job. That I earned a fastball down the middle. I'm going to take it yard. Like,
yeah.
And what Zach said, man, these guys are trying to like, okay, if I hit another like one at bat could really be deciding if I get signed another contract or like whatever. Like, fuck your fastball. I'm hitting that. Sorry.
Yeah, like, sorry you suck. That goes back to how is it my fault that you suck?
Exactly.
Yeah. Another thing we'll get into, I just want to talk about some early risers and late bloomers. I know we're early in the season, so some teams are underperforming and some teams are overperforming. Some early risers I want to look at are the Angels. So the Angels right now are 27-20. They're currently second in the division. Mike Trout is back to MVP form already. I think he's doing fantastic. He's on pace for a ridiculous season. Ohtani is great per usual. He's still picking up where he left off last year from his MVP season. Phenomenal. Some surprises from them. I see some huge contributions from Jared Walsh, Anthony Rendon, and Taylor Ward. Their on-base percentage is ridiculous. I think they're all north of, I know, minimum 300. So they're all getting on base. They're finally contributing. One of the biggest things in the past, though, with the Angels and their issues is pitching. I don't think they have the bullpen there yet. That might take another year or two. But I am seeing some great strides from Noah Syndergaard and Reed Detmers. Reed Detmers just got drafted, I think, a year ago out of Louisville. He's been disgusting. So they're moving in the right direction. I don't think they'll win a ring this year, but I am excited to see Mike Trout finally get into the fucking playoffs. I think it is absolutely ridiculous that the two best players in baseball not only play on the same team, but can't make the fucking playoffs. Go figure. Fuck California still. Right now, they're projected as a 51.4% chance to make the playoffs, according to Baseball Reference. Another team I want to look at is the New York Yankees. God, I can't even say that. They're 33-13. They're the hottest team in baseball. I can't deny it. They're first in their division with a 98% chance to make the playoff.
So much better than the Red Sox this year.
Yeah, and Aaron Judge and Giancarlo Stanton played phenomenal. They're finally showing that they are the Bronx Bombers. That's
Yo,
what
if
they
I'm
should
not
have been.
mistaken, isn't there like a little controversy going on right now with re-signing Aaron Judge?
Yes. So with this, they do need to re-sign him, and he is going to need a fat fucking deal.
Wasn't it like 4 for 40 million or something like really low?
Yeah. So I definitely see that's hard because the way I see it is the Yankees need to re-sign him. He's a must. What I would do, from what I have written here, is I would let Hicks and Gallo go. I know you wanted lefty bats in your lineup because you're dealing with a short porch. You need more lefty bats just to kind of even out your lineup. You already have your power bats from from Stanton and Judge. You don't need Gallo. What you need is some on-base machines, maybe some base stealing. What I would do is I would go out. I think they just got Tim LaCastro last year. Huge speedy guy. I'm pretty sure he plays the outfield. Put him in center. That is straight speed. You get him on the base pass, that's guaranteed 30, 40 stolen bases a year. That puts guys on for Stanton and Judge to hit their home runs. It allows them to put up their production numbers, and you don't have to worry about sacrificing that much in the average. So what if Stanton and Judge aren't putting up 290, 300 batting average? If they're hitting 40, 30 bombs a year, that's all you need out of them. Mm-hmm. Rizzo has finally made huge strides.
Sorry, Zach. The other thing about Judge too is you're not only losing a statistical benefit to your team, you're losing low key the face of the program. Like the
for sure.
Like he is the Yankees. Like Giancarlo Stanton's huge. Like all these other guys, CC is huge. Like, but if you ask a kid right now that follows baseball, or like any young kid in America, like who's the first player you name when you think of the Yankees, they're all gonna say Aaron Judge. And when you're an organization like the Yankees, the culture is huge. Culture is huge for a team like that. So I feel like you definitely want to try to do everything you can to keep him. And dude, put your ego aside, bro. Like, I know you're the New York Yankees. Keep this man. Like, give him his money. You have the money. He's worth the money.
And he makes you all that money back with his marketing, like you were saying.
Exactly. Like, you're gonna lose that marketing. Yeah. You're the New York Yankees still gonna sell out games, but those jersey sales, I guarantee you, is the highest jersey sale for the Yankees right now.
Yeah. I completely agree. One of the other things I'll say about the Yankees, because I'll give them their due diligence. I think Rizzo's finally found his groove at Yankee Stadium. Coming from the Cubs, I was a little worried. I know they wanted a left-handed bat, but he worked a lot oppo. So I was surprised about that. Another thing is pitching-wise, huge shout-out to Mr. Cortez. Absolutely phenomenal. He's posted a 1.7 ERA to this point. He is your fucking dog story. That guy has worked his ass off to get where he is in the majors. He's undersized. He doesn't throw the hardest. He's just fucking gritty. He puts his nose in the fucking dirt and he goes to work every day. And he's my favorite player on the Yankees. I don't know how you root against the guy. And they've had phenomenal bullpen outings from Michael King and Clay Holmes, who have literally just locked down their bullpen. I think they'll make a deep playoff run this year, honestly. They're going to be hard to beat. But yeah, that's it for baseball news. I like what I'm seeing so far this year. I hope for a good year.
Yeah, and the last thing is just, the Lightning are about to go into the conference championship. Since they got swept by the Blue Jackets in 2019, they tied the best regular season record of all time that year at 62, 16-4. They then got swept by the Blue Jackets. Since then, back-to-back Stanley Cup champs. They have a shot at third this season. They just swept the Florida Panthers 4-0, who had the best regular season record at 58, 18-6. And they beat them without Braden Point, who was their second leading scorer with 28 goals this season behind Stamkos's 42. Lightning are on a 10-0 and 10 the last 10 postseason series, and they are 40-16 in those games. They play the winner of Carolina and Rangers, who play tonight, Saturday. Carolina's up currently 3-2 for Game 6 tonight at 8 p.m. The Bolts are 1-2 against Carolina this season, 0-3 versus the Rangers. So either way, it's going to be a great game. Thanks everyone for tuning in. Caleb, thanks for joining us. Zach,
thanks for having me, boys.
And it's just some guys being dudes talking sports.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.